Hello everyone, my name is Rich Pearson. I'm a professional counsellor and psychotherapist based in Falmouth in Cornwall, and today we're going to be talking about what is counselling. So the dictionary definition of counselling, as I have here on my phone, says counselling is the provision of professional assistance and guidance in resolving personal or psychological problems. That's not exactly the words that I would have chosen, but it's pretty close to what I think the answer would be. Counselling is a type of talking therapy. It involves talking to a trained professional, someone like myself, who can, on the most part, listen and potentially give feedback on any given problem, issue. It doesn't even have to be something that's problematic. It doesn't have to be something that is causing you great difficulty. I feel like anyone and everyone should go to see a counsellor at least once in their life, if not more regularly. What counselling does, which is really good, is that it allows people to have a different perspective on anything that they have as a part of themselves, any ethic, any moral, any belief that they might hold. So whenever I start with a new client, one of the main things that I do is get a real background on them, learn as much as I can about their life, their job, their relationships, their family, anything and everything, whether they hold any particular religious beliefs or anything like that, because it helps me to get a background idea. Because a lot of the things that people often go to counselling with, the problem is not necessarily evident. If it was, they probably wouldn't need to go and see a counsellor. But coming back to that original point, counselling is a way of helping people to gain a different perspective on certain things in their life. Now, some of the things that people might think in terms of counselling that you have to be in order to go and see a counsellor. Some people might think that you have to be depressed, that you have to be anxious, that you have to have some kind of psychological issue. This is not in any way or shape or form true. Counselling is for absolutely anybody that wants to access it, and rather than necessarily just looking at counselling as being something which fixes problems, I like to think of counselling as a way of improving things, making things better. I know numerous sporting professionals, business professionals, people that work in all different kinds of fields who use counsellors not because they have any particular problem, but because they just want to improve their life or their relationships or anything else that's about them. With almost 99% of problems, we can muddle through life with them. And for a very long time, mental health was looked upon as something that shouldn't even be considered a problem. You feel a bit depressed, you just suck it up and carry on. Nowadays we realise that we can have a better world and better feeling people in it if we allow people a space to address these problems. Now, some of this is going to be a painful process. I myself have been in counselling for over 20 years, and there's been some really tough parts of getting to know myself, examining some of my own thoughts and beliefs, and change some of the perspectives that I have. That's a small part of what counselling is, and it's again not necessarily what you would have to do if you went to counselling, but it is worth understanding. We often refer to counselling as work, because it really is. Now, person-centered counselling is what I most commonly practice, and that's something I'm going to go into in a different video, but it's the most common form of counselling that you will generally see in the Western world, is this form of counselling where we put the client at the centre of the work that we're doing, and we say, you tell us, what do you want to work on, what do you want to improve, what is getting you down, what is bugging you, what do you want to change? And we, the therapist, help them to find the answers. So that's a brief sort of overview of what counselling is. Another really interesting point to look at is what people might think of counsellors. A lot of people might be anxious or afraid of going and talking to a counsellor because they might think that we are all high and mighty and have everything sorted out. I mean, unfortunately, you couldn't be further from the truth. If being a counsellor meant that all of your problems were solved, then we would just get everyone to go and do counselling courses. It's unfortunately not true. In order for us to be effective agents to help you, the clients, we have to be human beings. We have to possess things like empathy, and we have to have had a certain extent of lived experience and knowledge in order to be able to call on so that we can help our clients in some way. Me personally, I'm certainly not someone that has absolutely everything in life sorted out. And I'm not going to list all of my problems and perceived faults or anything here. I'm pretty happy with how my life is going at the moment. My daughter was just born recently. Me and my partner are getting on really well. We've got a dog that doesn't chew anything too badly anymore, and we've got, you know, the lights on and food, and we've got warmth and shelter, and it's all going okay. It's the 1st of January as I'm doing this, and we're looking forward to a new year. But I have problems myself. I personally go and see a counsellor, as any counsellor will ethically do as part of their practice, but I would still go and see a counsellor even if I wasn't practicing, because I feel there's a great benefit to being able to talk about anything in my life really and be able to get a better perspective on it. Counsellors also aren't agents for giving out advice particularly. A lot of people might think that a counsellor is going to be someone that's going to give them a magic fix, or patronise them in some way, or judge them, or say, well, you know, if your biggest problem is smoking, then you should just stop smoking, and if your biggest issue is that you can't get over your ex, then, well, you should just find someone else. That is categorically not what we do, and both of those pieces of advice are way too simplistic in order to help anyone in any given way. And I'm going to do a video on simple things, literally the idea of simplicity, later on in this series, so do watch out for that one. It's a really important one. But going back to that point, it's really not our position to try and tell people this is how you should be living your life, and we aren't the role models that you should be aspiring to be. We, as therapists in general, and again, I'm really open to anyone commenting in the comments, whether you are a therapist or you've experienced therapy or anything else. Tell me if you think I've got any of this wrong or anything else. But the role of counsellors and therapists in general is to be people who listen, people who are empathetic, people who are non-judgmental, who can allow you to explore any given issue or concern that you might have in what we really don't like to call, but it really is, a safe space. Another thing that it's really clear to make a distinction about in terms of counselling is that it is not psychiatry. Psychiatry is a completely different field. It works on, you know, working with people's brains and their mental health and issues. But psychiatrists are professionally trained medical doctors. You have to be a doctor in order to be a psychiatrist, because psychiatrists are able to prescribe medication in order to help people to get over certain issues. And sometimes this is the most effective way of dealing with any given problem. It's very big in the United States of America, and there's been some real success with treating people with things like antidepressants or anything else. Counsellors are not psychiatrists, we are not doctors, and we do not have medical degrees. It's really important to clarify that at the start. We also do not provide medication or prescribe it in any way, shape or form, but to an extent, a counsellor can be much more effective in certain issues and situations than a psychiatrist could be. Again, if you feel like you have any kind of issue and you're not sure, talking to your GP is always a really good first step. But you can also talk to a counsellor, and hopefully if they're a good counsellor, they'll be able to signpost you towards someone that will be able to help with your issue if it is more specific than what talking therapy requires. Thank you very much for watching this short video, guys. That's the basics on what is counselling and what is a counsellor. I hope that helps. If you've got any questions, please put them down in the comments below, and also please do subscribe to this channel. I'm going to try and get a video a day out this month, and now that I've said that into a camera, I've really got to try and do it. So I'm going to try and do 31 videos in 31 days throughout January, which is a terrifying concept considering I really do have other things to do as well, but I really wanted to get this out there, and yeah, I hope you guys all enjoy that. Again, a very happy new year to all of you, and I hope you've had a wonderful time, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video. And if you have any queries or questions or anything else, there are some links in the descriptions below. If you're based in the UK specifically, which is where I am, I'm not able to comment on other countries' mental health or counselling provisions, but if you do have any queries, please do get in touch and let me know. And if you're not local to me, I'm still really happy to try and signpost people to point them in the right direction if I've got time. Thank you very much for watching this video, everyone, and I will see you all tomorrow, where I think I'm going to be talking about person-centered counselling in a more in-depth video. So thanks again and enjoy your day.